Well, we talked about it earlier this week, just before the Kentucky game, actually, with Finebaum and him saying it seems like Georgia is just about to explode on somebody. That's what happened for Georgia against Kentucky. I mean, that was just a nasty beating that the Dawgs put on the Cats. 51-13. Abnormally lopsided affair in a game that a lot of people felt like would be tight. Now, I did not think it would be. I thought it was a decisive win for Georgia. But as it turns out, I mean, it was more decisive than I thought. Decisive means not by 40-something points almost. It means you win by 2 touchdowns, 17 points, decisive, something like that. The way they beat South Carolina, which was 10 going away, but it was 10. This was not like that. This was just a thorough beating. And for someone like me who covers a team on a daily basis, it's hard to say, oh, well, I can feel them ready to explode. Before the game, I will say, they seemed, particularly Carson Beck, seemed very, loose, happy, having fun, stuff like that. That's what it seemed like to me. And I think that's a very important part of where this program is at right now. If the hard part to remember here is they're midway through the year. The season is half gone. That's amazing. Now, as someone who does the traveling that the team does in a harder fashion, who some nights we're doing high school games the night before Georgia games, it really can be exhausting. But it is a tiring process because Georgia's season basically, to me, the season starts at media days. For, this season has been even longer. You had the tragic events in January. You had the national championship. There was a lot that really, this season has been a longer off season than almost any that I can remember. 21 going into 22, the 22 off season was pretty long too, because whenever Georgia wins a national championship, there's all sorts of stuff that comes along with it. Obviously we've had 2 very successful books in Double Dawgs and Dogstruction. And that a lot of y'all have really supported us with. Those books are still for sale. Our friends at Red Zone have a fresh set of them now. But it is a lot. And for Kirby and them, I don't see how it's slowed down at all. I think this has been the most challenging offseason for them. You think about the deaths of 2 people inside the program, and all the negative attention that came with that. You talk about the discussion of, can these guys do a 3rd national championship? You're replacing an offensive coordinator. You're replacing a guy at quarterback who is way up there in terms of all of this stuff. Can you, that's a lot. Well, so far, all of that has worked out. I missed it. But so far, we're 6 games into this. It's not the same as being 9 to 10 games into it. If you're Georgia and you look at LSU and Alabama and almost everybody in the league, everybody else has had some real, they've all got losses. This is really, they've come close to a loss in theory to Auburn, but were they losing in the 4th quarter of that game? I guess they were tied. I cannot recall if they were winning or losing. You're gonna be winning if you get this set from our buddies at Eco Poly. Now look, this furniture is made of recycled material. You can easily clean it. It's got a 20-year warranty. You can leave this outside. I would not leave the cushions outside, personally. But this is made of unbelievably nice material, recycled. They can color code it to a lot of colors, and it is high quality. If you are, like, I'm just sitting in the backyard right now. You can hear the cars. If you want a very nice retreat, getaway furniture that's going to be with you for years, probably decades, Eco Poly, our friends in the heart of Georgia down there in Eastman and Dodge County, this is the company for you. They manufacture it, they create it, they build it, they ship it. The link is down below. Make sure you're taking advantage of taking. I mean, obviously this, I didn't even mention the stool here, but all of this, I have this. We use this. I'm using it as a prop right now, but we actually use this. So this is all stuff that you can have. But I think if you're the Dawgs and you think about what can you have this season, you can own another national championship. But there's still going to be, Paul, I think, understands all this stuff from a 40,000 foot level. And from 40,000 feet, there's not a lot wrong with Georgia. When you start getting on a granular level, yeah, I mean, like every team, there are problems or issues, whatever you want to call it. That's definitely true for the Dawgs. They've got to make sure that they're cleaning that up. They got to get healthier at running back, y'all. I mean, Kendall Milton made a difference last night. He just did. I mean, obviously he scored a touchdown, but it wasn't just Deshaun Edwards out there the whole time. Andrew Paul had some snaps. Roderick Robinson was not out there. They need their guys. Lad McConkey did not seem to play a lot last night. Now, again, I'm going on memory half the time here, so if I don't nail this exactly, I just want to, make that be known out there. But this is a program that is barreling towards an opportunity to win it all again. I don't know if they will. My bet is them versus anyone else is, yeah, they will. My bet in terms of them versus the field, I think that's a more complicated question or proposition, for lack of a better term. If you're taking Georgia versus the field, you'd be smart to take the field. Georgia's not that much better than everybody else. That they are, clearly the team to. Well, I think they are clearly the team to beat. But there are teams out there. But kind of unlike last year. I mean, I always noticed Ohio State. I'm not sure right now I'm at that point. I thought Notre Dame would be in position. I do think Florida State has the players in the power positions, the quarterback play that you need, the skill players that you have to have. They've got the parts. I'm not sure they are consistent enough to. In a 7-game series, they would not beat Georgia. In a 1-game set, I mean, I don't know. So there's a lot of, there's a lot going on. But y'all, listen, if we're just being honest, and maybe this is what Paul was getting at. If you're, I'm sitting here looking at this thing. If you are Georgia and you're not turning it over twice against Auburn, and you don't have the turnovers against UAB, 5 in 2 games, if you're not missing field goals against South Carolina, they very much look like a team headed for the national championship with a bullet. But those things happen, see? And now we know how they react. I bet those practices are absolutely miserable sometimes. Everybody talks about the Tuesday practices, but you're not just getting where these guys are at by one practice a week. I mean, it's every single day, and it's all of the detail that really matters in these programs. But I think Paul was, clearly he was right. Now, if you're Georgia, that's not going to keep happening over and over again. How many times can you get too close to the way they played against the Cats? Because if you're doing that in the big moments, they're going to win it all again.